Want to get back to my take, the editorial at the top of the hour, the Senate GOP's health reform push. I think it's dead in the water. That makes, in my opinion, tax cuts a must and a much more likely thing to pass Congress. Fox News contributor Karl Rove is with us now. Karl, do you agree with the basic premise there, that failure on Obamacare simply means we're more likely to get tax cuts?
I think that's right. We'll call that the Varney thesis from now on.
Okay.
I think it's accurate. But let's not mistake that it's going to be an easy task to do this. We face an immediate tactical hurdle, and we then have several philosophical issues that the Republicans need to resolve. The tactical hurdle is represented by your earlier guest, Louis Gohmert of Texas, my fellow Texan. He's a member of the Freedom Caucus, which is holding up the consideration of the House budget resolution. The House and Senate must pass budget resolutions, then go to conference, come to an agreement upon a final resolution, and then pass them through their bodies in order to take up tax reform in the Senate and be able to pass it with 51 votes. And the Freedom Caucus is saying before we vote with the rest of the Republicans on the House budget resolution, we may vote with Nancy Pelosi unless and until we get veto authority over every major provision of the tax reform bill. And this is a tactical hurdle that is going to be difficult to overcome. But I think it will be overcome.
Yeah. As I outlined in my take at the top of the hour, the core of the tax reform plan, in very general terms, seems to be 35% top individual rate, 20% the corporate rate, 25% small businesses, sole proprietorships. If that is the core, if those are the numbers that we're dealing with, how could any Republican vote against that? How could they do that?
Well, the devil is always in the details. I'd say there are a couple of more items that are core of this. Territorial tax system, so we end the double taxation of American profits that are earned abroad. We're the only major industrialized company that does this. We tax it twice. Gets taxed over there when they make a profit in whatever country they sell the good, say Germany, and then when they bring it home to the United States, that profit home, we tax it again. We're the only country that does that. There'll be a deal to repatriate those stranded foreign earnings. I think those are two additional components that'll be in the package. But yes, look, we should be able to do it. But there are going to be problems. One problem is going to be, do you pay for this? In essence, do you add to the deficit? And the price tag of this tax cut is going to be about $1.5 trillion. It looks like somewhere in that vicinity. And the media is going to jump on it, and the left is going to jump on it and say you're simply adding to the deficit. But they're not going to take into account that economic growth is going to offset some of that. And then the way that the Republicans are approaching this is an arcane issue. The current policy versus current law, they're going to use a current policy basis, and that's going to give them another $500 billion worth of revenue to offset the tax cut.
At the end of the day, if you're cutting taxes in the way that's been described, can you get 50 Republican votes in the Senate and 218 votes in the House? I think you can.
I agree, but let's not underestimate how important this is to get done, and how important it is to make certain that it gets done, and how difficult it is to get it done. When you've got 30 people in the House saying we want veto authority over the bill, that's going to get some hackles up. And when you only have a 52-48 margin in the Senate, and if you lose 3 Republicans for whatever reason, and one of the issues that we may lose them on is lowering the top rate. And look, that's where. Here, I stole this from the Tax Foundation. This is 2015, the last year for which we have numbers. The bottom 50% of taxpayers who make roughly $36,841 a year, those people or less, they pay 2.78% of the taxes. The top 1% by themselves, people whose adjusted gross income is about $428,000, they pay nearly 38% of the tax bill. The top 5% pay a total of nearly 60%, nearly 70% by the top 10%, and the top quarter pay 86% of the taxes that are paid in this country through the income tax system. That's people who make $75,000 a year or more. Pay nearly 90% of the taxes.
And it's bedrock GOP policy that those people who pay taxes get a lower tax rate. That's absolutely bedrock. I don't see how you can be a Republican and object to lowering the top rate of tax from 39.6 to 35. I don't see how you can do that.
We're going to have some people who are going to be skittish about it, both for lost revenue and, more importantly, the political consequences of going home and trying to defend that. But my view is this. the American people are fair-minded. There ought to be a limit to how much the government can take from anybody.
Yes.
Because if they can take it from somebody, they can take it from everybody. And the idea that you're taking more than a third of people's paychecks in taxes is anathema to most Americans, and we can make that argument in a campaign and win it if we've got courage to do so.
Please do it, Karl Rove, and thanks very much for being with us.